It was a crisp morning in Riyadh, the golden sun illuminating the sprawling estate of one of the city's wealthiest men, Abdul Rahman Al-Mansoor. Known for his sharp business acumen and unmatched wealth, Abdul was a revered figure in the corporate world. His name was synonymous with success, and many aspired to follow in his footsteps. Yet, behind the dazzling facade of his fortune and fame, his life at home was unraveling in ways he could have never foreseen. His wife, Layla, was a beacon of elegance and grace. Raised in a middle-class family in Jeddah, she embodied a modern outlook fused with traditional values. Layla's world turned upside down when she married Abdul, who promised her a life of unimagined luxury, lavish gifts, diamond necklaces, and weekend trips to European capitals became part of her life. At first, it seemed like the perfect fairy tale, but as time went on, the cracks in their marriage grew harder to ignore. One of the most significant points of contention between the couple stemmed from Abdul's insistence that Layla move into his parents' grand mansion. The sprawling architectural marvel, surrounded by date palm groves, symbolized his family's legacy and pride. To Abdul, this move was an obvious step in fulfilling his filial responsibilities. But for Layla, who cherished her independence, the idea was suffocating. She resisted vehemently, and her refusal planted seeds of discord. "You don't understand our traditions, Layla. My parents are getting older, and it's my duty as their eldest son to take care of them," Abdul said one evening, his voice tinged with irritation. Layla stood her ground, her tone measured yet firm. "I respect your parents, Abdul, and I'm more than willing to visit and support them. But living there? It's not a compromise I can make. We need our privacy, our own space to build our lives." The discussion quickly spiraled out of control. What began as a disagreement over logistics soon exposed underlying power dynamics in their relationship. Abdul's frustration boiled over, leading to a moment of violence. In a fit of rage, he struck Layla. The sharp sound of the slap echoed through the villa, leaving an indelible mark on both their lives. Shaken and hurt, Layla withdrew to her room, tears streaming down her face. She had never imagined that the man she married, a man she once loved so deeply, could resort to such an act. Abdul, on the other hand, convinced himself that his actions were justified. It was a decision he would come to regret deeply. The morning after the incident, the villa was unusually quiet. Abdul, oblivious to the magnitude of his actions, carried on as though nothing had happened. Layla, however, was irrevocably changed. Her vibrant laughter, the warmth that once characterized her presence, had disappeared. She answered Abdul's questions curtly and avoided prolonged conversations. It was clear she was building an emotional wall. Layla spent hours contemplating her next steps. The ornate mirror in their bedroom became her silent confidant, reflecting the anguish etched on her face. She debated whether to leave Abdul and risk societal judgment or to stay and try to salvage their marriage. Ultimately, she realized she needed time and space, not just to think, but to reclaim her sense of self. Unbeknownst to Abdul, Layla began laying the groundwork for her escape. She reached out to Noor, her childhood friend in Dubai. Noor was now a prominent women's rights advocate, a beacon of hope for countless women in the region. "Layla, you don't have to endure this," Noor said over the phone. "You have every right to demand respect and equality in your marriage. If Abdul refuses to see that, then you need to prioritize your own well-being." With Noor's help, Layla connected with organizations that supported women in abusive situations. To avoid raising Abdul's suspicions, she told him she needed to visit her family in Jeddah for emotional support. Abdul, still dismissive of the gravity of the situation, agreed without much thought. Layla's departure was marked by a mix of anxiety and resolve. She packed her bags, leaving behind the sprawling villa that had become a gilded cage. Her family welcomed her with open arms, offering her the solace she desperately needed. As days turned into weeks, Abdul began to notice Layla's prolonged absence. His calls to her family went unanswered, and his growing unease drove him to investigate. When he learned that Layla had joined a group advocating for women's rights, he was livid. Yet, beneath his anger, he felt a pang of fear. Layla's story was beginning to spread. She had spoken to several prominent media outlets, shedding light on the dynamics of their marriage. The woman who once seemed content to play the role of a devoted wife was now boldly challenging patriarchal traditions, using her own experiences to highlight systemic issues. The business world, ever watchful, took note of the controversy. Abdul's once spotless reputation began to tarnish. Investors grew wary, and whispers of his private life began to overshadow his professional achievements. For the first time in his life, Abdul felt powerless. The turning point came when a video of Layla went viral. Sitting in a serene, sunlit garden, she spoke with calm determination. Marriage should be a partnership, built on mutual respect and understanding, she said. No woman should endure violence or control in the name of tradition. My story is not unique, and that's the tragedy. It's time for change. The video ignited a global conversation. Hashtags like #Justice for Layla and #End Patriarchy trended on social media. Prominent figures voiced their support, amplifying her message. Layla became a symbol of empowerment, her strength inspiring countless women to speak out. Abdul's world was crumbling. Faced with mounting public backlash and the collapse of several key business deals, he had no choice but to confront his actions. Seeking guidance, he turned to his uncle, a wise and respected elder in their family. Abdul, his uncle said gravely, wealth and power mean nothing if you lack honor and respect. You have wronged your wife and tarnished your own name. The question is, what will you do to make it right? Abdul took the words to heart. For the first time, he reflected on the impact of his actions, not just on Layla, but on himself. He issued a public apology, acknowledging his failures and pledging to change. Beyond words, he took tangible steps, funding shelters for abused women, supporting education initiatives, and collaborating with organizations to promote gender equality. Despite these efforts, Abdul's relationship with Layla remained irrevocably broken. In a follow-up interview, Layla said, "Forgiveness is possible, but forgetting is not. My journey is about moving forward, not looking back." Layla's journey didn't end with her separation from Abdul. She channeled her experiences into creating lasting change. With the help of Noor and other advocates, she founded an organization dedicated to empowering women, providing resources and support for those in abusive relationships. Her story continued to resonate, sparking conversations in communities that had long resisted change. Layla's strength became a beacon for countless others, proving that it was possible to overcome adversity and rebuild. As for Abdul, his journey of redemption was far from complete. Though he faced significant losses, he remained committed to his newfound mission of advocacy and reform. His story served as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and the possibility of change. For both Abdul and Layla, the ordeal was transformative. Layla's resilience paved the way for a brighter future, while Abdul's fall from grace underscored the importance of accountability. In their own ways, they both became agents of change, leaving a legacy far greater than either could have imagined.